For me, this IM is a prime example when you can really acknowledge that an IM is great, but you can't help but don't like it. So hello and welcome to Aftersound Review, and I will explain to you why I don't like this amazing IM. And this is the Dunu SA6 Mark II that is supposedly an improved version of the original Dunu SA6. And just like usual, I will break down this review from the build, fit, frequency response, sound, and comparison. It has a fairly nice build quality, all made of resin for the housing, and you could see that the faceplate is has this kind of wooden feel to it, wooden looks to it, and you get this 6 number on the right side, and you get this Dunu logo on the left side. And I don't know why, but for me it's subtle, but it looks really good for my eyes. Just like I said, it is all full made of resin, and you can see the drivers inside here is using 6 balance armature, and on the back side you get this on and off switch that you can change easily even using your nails. Well, they also using these 2-pin connectors with well-known Dunu cable that has this amazing interchangeable jack here. I just really love how it's easy to change them. Just pull a bit around this part area, and then you can just take them off like that. And yeah, inside the packaging you also get the 4.4 balanced connector. Well, in terms of ergonomic, I really don't have anything in particular to complain. It fits nicely with my ears, just like this. Maybe just a little bit complaint is more about the cable, because the cable feels kinda rigid, so it's not really flexible. It's kinda tough here, and it does feel kinda microphonic. Well, regarding the frequency response of this IM, well, you can see here, this is my raw frequency response measurement, that this IM has more emphasis on the bass area, especially around that sub bass and also that upper treble, but it has somehow subdued upper mid-range. So I would say that this IM can be categorized as U-shape, and the switch does change a bit. The bass quantity changed a bit with the switch. When you turn them on, you get a little bit more bass quantity, but other than that, it doesn't change a lot. And this is the compensated frequency response with comparison with the IF Neutral 2023. Well, my concern about this frequency response is about that dip around ear gain area, around 3 kHz, that is fairly low. And that's actually one of the reasons why I cannot like this IM. Starting from the bass area, this bass is a sub-bass focused kind of bass that has a lot of strength, a lot of focus mostly in the sub-bass region rather than the mid-bass region. So for me, this IM could give nice rumble deep down there, but it doesn't have a lot of kick. But you could help them, we could help with the punch or an impact with turning on the switch here, and you get definitely a good a better presentation of bass punch. But that being said, this kind of bass does feels like a very BA-ish kind of bass. It doesn't have this bouncy or kind of reverb-y texture from the dynamic driver. Well, I need to say that I'm a little bit biased towards dynamic bass presentation, because the kick drum and also the rumble doesn't feel really natural for me. It just have a good deep kind of bass, but the texture, it feels kind of artificial for me. And that also happens with the mid-range here. Well, the mid-range, like I said, it is fairly recessed. I could say that it is recessed because here's the thing: if you have learned about frequency at least around 3K, that is an area where your brain is expected to hear an elevation around 3K area to compensate your pinna. That's why it is called pinna gain or ear gain area, and you will find in any neutral target, either it's arythmotic, either it's from IF, or either it's from diffuse field, there's an elevation around 3K area. But in this IM, in the raw frequency response, it is fairly flat, and compensating them with the frequency with the IF neutral or any other neutral target, you will see that there's a recession around the upper mid area. And for me, that is very noticeable for me, because the 3K around the up, or mostly in the upper mid-range area, it is the part when it plays a higher frequency of human voice. So when you hear this kind of sound rather than this kind of sound, that affects a lot of human voice around the upper mid-range area, and also it also affects a lot with instruments like piano or guitar, which happens to be that I'm actually a pianist. So recession in 3K area makes it is somehow giving a layer of fogginess maybe around the upper mid-range. So when I hear some vocalists sing or scream, for example like Lisa singing Gurenge or Taeyeon singing I, when they shout, when they scream, when they really a song with a lot of power, the power of the voice seems kind of subdued and not open. And when I'm hearing some pianos or some guitars, it doesn't have this kind of cleanness or openness that or clarity that I hope that I would get from this IM. When you hear choir like from Kirk Franklin, Love Theory, there's a strange the voice somehow kind of feels restrained and not open as it's how it should be. And also in the treble area, I do find that it has more of an emphasis around the upper treble area rather than the mid or lower treble area. So the treble itself is actually smooth, but it emphasizes some upper air energy. So for example, when you hear cymbal crash, you don't really hear that crash on the first strike, but rather you hear more of a remnants of that strike. So instead of you hear more of the on the end of the crash. And somehow for me the treble, even though you can hear it, somehow gives this kind of clarity and also some micro nuance around the upper air region. But simply for me, again, it doesn't sound natural, at least for my ears, who is also happen to be kind of accustomed with drummers playing around my back here. So for me, somehow the treble here doesn't really remind me of how a cymbal strikes should sound like. So you could definitely see why I don't really like this IM well. But I would say that around $600, the technicality of this IM is just simply amazing. Well, at the first you really get that kind of three-dimensional-ish presentation with good separation and imaging right from the start. So the technicalities of this IM, I would say that it's almost similar with what you get at around maybe 700 or almost $1,000. But yeah, it's just my complaint here is, at least for my ears, no matter what kind of ear tips I've tried, I tried the Dunu SNS, I've tried the Final Type E, I've tried the Acoustic IT08, I've tried the SpinFit, nothing sounds natural for me. It doesn't replicate what I hear when I'm playing in the band. So now when it comes to comparison, I like to compare them with the Thea Audio Oracle Mark II here. Well, the Thea Oracle Audio Mark II is a more energetic have this kind of more energetic presentation, especially around that upper mid-range. And for me, even though it's a bit forward and kind of intense maybe for some songs, but it somehow sounds more natural to me and also have better bass decay and also texture to them, to the point that I simply said that at this price point it's really similar. This one costs around 569 or 579, while the Thea Audio Oracle Mark II costs around 589, and I would pick that Thea Audio Oracle Mark II anytime. And for this kind of price at around $589, is simply said that it's really close to $600. I have another IM that for me sounds much more natural. That this is one of my favorite IMs. It is simply one of my favorite IMs right now, the Sennheiser IE600. For me, the decay of the bass, that subwoofer rumble that you get, that also that bounciness you get from the dynamic driver here, also the mid-range presentation with that airiness of the treble from this IM combined with the resolution, I would say I definitely pick the Sennheiser IE600 any day, and the difference is $100 to the point that if I see them together in stores like this, I would pick the Sennheiser IE600 any day. But maybe I would say that yes, there are some points that Dunu SA6 Mark II sounds a little bit better. Maybe that's around the soundstage and emerging area, where this Dunu SA6 Mark II could give more of the instrumental precision better than the Sennheiser IE600. Also, you get that more larger soundstage compared to this. I would say that the Sennheiser IE600 sounds much smaller in soundstage and 3D imaging compared to the Dunu SA6 Mark II. And comparing them with the Dunu SA6, the original Dunu SA6, I would say that I like the Dunu SA6 better simply because it has better and more natural upper mid-range presentation. But that being said, even the Dunu original SA6 Mark II doesn't have this kind of natural timbre that I would like to hear from an IM. But if I have to choose, yeah, even though the SA6 Mark II is definitely a step up in terms of overall resolution and clarity, especially with more added sub-bass and treble area that gives this kind of wow effect maybe, or clarity effect. But in terms of naturality, I do prefer the Dunu SA6 original better than this Dunu SA6 Mark II. But at the end of the day, it's definitely about timbre and the naturality of the sound from the IM that captures my heart rather than its technicality. And for me, this IM definitely missed all of what I want in an IM to replicate those kind of sound that I usually hear when I'm playing in a band. This IM doesn't sound natural to me, to the point that, yeah, I don't like this IM at all, but I acknowledge that this could be a really great IM for some people that maybe are sensitive to upper mid-range or maybe some treble harshness up there and you want a wide soundstage with good 3D imaging presentation. For me, this IM simply doesn't sound natural. That's the first sin of this IM and the biggest sin, at least for me. But again, I could recommend this IM for some people that actually sensitive to those area. But if you ask me, I really cannot like this IM, so that's why I give this IM this tonality, and this is the score for its technicality. And that's all I could say about this IM. I hope you enjoyed this review, and see you next time. Bye bye.